These are words. You look at them on your screen, and with exactly zero effort, your brain has translated the uniquely arranged lines in front of you into ideas and sentences. In fact, you're completely unable to not see the words. You can't turn it off. It is impossible for you to look at the screen and just see a bunch of random shapes. They are just so overwhelmingly filled with meaning. There was certainly a time when you did not understand the shapes, but you've completely forgotten about it. And these groups of letters each have an irreversibly ascribed significance in the most basic functions of your mind. Even someone who speaks a language like French or Spanish can look at the image and see that those are definitely words. They just can't ascribe a specific meaning to them like we can. And in the same way, English speakers can look at text in Spanish and distinguish it from gibberish. That's because, while the words are different, the alphabet itself follows the same basic rules that can supersede language barriers. It functions as some weird mystical system which follows rules we don't even know we know. The great thing about this is, once you know the rules, you can change them. It's easy enough to do. Star Wars did it, Star Trek did it, Tolkien did it at least 3 times. I even did it in the margins of my US history notes. Not only did I make a new symbol for each sound, including one for TH, something which I think should actually exist in our alphabet, I also created an entire new set of punctuation, numerals, a completely new system of vowel placement, and letters that break the new rules of vowel placement. This isn't to show I'm some sort of genius in lexical development, but rather to show that one doesn't need to be a genius in order to make an alphabet. All it takes is some form of motivation and a little creativity. There is, however, one issue with the alphabets I just listed a few moments ago. None of them are technically real. They all apply to a world, language, society that doesn't inhabit the real world and is therefore static. No matter how far you go into the future, Elvish is going to sound exactly the same, because the people learning it are being taught to emulate a book, rather than another person who has used it his whole life. Alphabets that exist in the real world evolve over time, just like spoken language. People are lazy and lines get dropped. People start carving things in stone and curves are straightened, and then they show their kids how they do it. Even logographic writing systems like Chinese are the product of changing pressures on writing styles over thousands of years. When you trace the lineage of almost any written language back far enough, you generally reach some obscure proto-language centered around drawing out what you want to say with pictures. With one notable and very prominent exception. The Cyrillic alphabet, which today is used primarily for Russian, was actually created in the same way the Klingon alphabet or my alphabet was made, except with motives a little bit more complex than being bored in history class. Cyrillic was developed in 2 spurts over the course of about a decade in the latter half of the 9th century. The original alphabet was created by 2 Byzantine missionaries named Cyril and Methodius. In 860 CE, they developed a new alphabet in order to more effectively translate their Greek Bibles into the Slavic languages used around what was then the First Bulgarian Empire, an action for which they were later canonized saints. This alphabet they made was basically draft 1 of Cyrillic, and is today known as Glagolitic. Cyrillic, which you may have noticed is named after the aforementioned missionary, developed from Glagolitic texts sometime in the next 10 years, although how is still up in the air. One idea says that Cyrillic was developed on commission from Boris I of Bulgaria when Christianity became the official religion of the First Bulgarian Empire. There are also some suggestions that some of Cyril's students refined it in the late 890s in order to make it more suitable for church books. The alphabet has inevitably evolved some over the past 1200 years to compensate for laziness in regional dialects, but the morphological history is still significantly shorter than nearly any other written language, at least on this planet.